What you want to do is you want to have two different contrasting pieces of material. And so once I've cut my cuff and my body to the dimensions, the next part that I make, or the first part of the pillowcase that I make, is the cuff, attaching the cuff to the body. And the method that I use is called the burrito method or the hot dog method. It's all the same. They just have different words for it. And what you do with this is you lay down your cuff piece first, facing up, the right side facing up, and then you put your body piece, right sides facing together on top of the cuff. Then you roll up the body into kind of a narrow cylinder you roll the body onto this cuff until it's pretty close to the top edge. And at that point, you then roll the bottom half of the cuff up on top of the body, and then I pin everything across at this point so that all the raw edges are meeting one another. And then I take it to my sewing machine and I do a 1/4 inch seam across the top edge that I've pinned. And a 1/4 inch seam is the standard seam width that we use in the pillowcase. I will then pull the body out from the cylinder that it's in. I will pull that out. And I will iron it so that the cuff is now flat at the top and the body's coming out. So I want to iron that all flat. And then I will do a top stitch on the outer, on the edge of the cuff. And I do this because when these pillowcases arrive at their final destinations in third world countries or on Mercy Ship, they're going to be heavily laundered. And I want to make the pillowcase as strong as possible because it's going to get a lot of wear and tear. So the top stitching is decorative, but it's also functional. It will help the pillowcase cuff and body stay together longer. And if any of the edges need to be cut so that it's all even, I will then trim all the either side to make sure that the selvage is not showing or that everything's lined up straight. The next step that I do now would be to put the right sides of the body of the cuff, of the body of the pillowcase and the cuff together. And I usually pin the edges at this point. And I do make a 1/4 inch side seam. Now, I serge the raw edges of my pillowcase, but if you do not have a serger, there's one other option for you. You could zigzag your raw edges after you've made the 1/4 inch hem, or if you don't have zigzagging capacity, you could also change the side hem to a French seam. And then the final step, which I do with the pillowcases, is to press them. I know they might never get pressed again in their lifetime, but again, I like to it reduces the volume of the pillowcases because when I ship the pillowcases, usually I'm shipping 50 or more pillowcases. In order to get them in a box, I need them to be as flat as possible. So if you send your pillowcases to me pressed, it really does help in my next shipping to have a much flatter product to send out to wherever they're going to be going for their final destination. So hopefully this answers any questions you might have, and thank you for watching this video.